Well guys, welcome back to the shop. Today I'm finishing up our chassis work on this 1972 Corvette Stingray. Pretty nice car, really. I did control arms and, well, I rebuilt the control arms, the factory control arms, new bushings. I choose to rebuild the control arms because I can select the bushings that I want. And I can select the quality of ball joint that I want to replace it with, as opposed to buying something that's Chinese replacement. And I don't know what kind of quality that stuff has, so I actually prefer to strip them down, repaint them, put new bushings in it, and new ball joints. This one didn't need shocks, so we didn't do shocks. The sway bar bushings weren't rotted, so we didn't replace those either. But the upper control arms are done, ball joints, front and rear bushings. I vapor blasted the crossbars to clean those up. And then in the back, we did new camber rods. I cleaned up the hardware for those as well. Right now I'm working on the rear toe. I got my camber close. And then these are kind of a funky design. You have to pull shims out and put shims back in different places to get your toe where it's at. And basically I'll lock that down and then I'll recomp the car to verify that I have good readings, because this car was all over the place when I started it because I had everything apart on it. I am shooting for better caster, better camber up front, so I want as much caster as I can get up front, 2 to 4 degrees. And I'd like to see some negative camber if I can get it, but you know, it depends. You can do upgraded control arms for these. There's some really good stuff out there for these cars. These cars are probably going to be going through the roof here soon, because you can still buy, 70 through 82 Stingray Corvettes. The 74 to 82s are a lot cheaper than the early ones. People like these better because of the chrome bumpers and some of the hidden aspects of, hidden wipers and different stuff like that. But you can get into a really nice Stingray for pretty reasonable. Drop a modern drivetrain in it and just have a blast, especially with updated suspension components. But this car is super solid. There's really not any rust on it as far as the birdcage or the frame's concerned. Even the trailing arms are in really good shape. Just a little bit of surface rust. So, and somebody had already been in here redoing a bunch of the bushings, so I didn't have to do near as much work as normally I would have to do. So that was an added bonus for the customer. It's got all brand new brakes on it. It's looking pretty good. But I'm going to go ahead and get this rear end dialed in, and then I'll work on the front. This thing's going to ride really nice. It's going to make this guy a great driver. Unfortunately, he's putting it into storage for the winter as soon as he picks it up from here, so it's sad. It's winter, but it'll be great for him in spring when he gets back at it. Double checking all my stuff as I walk around, looking for anything I might have missed or forgotten to put in. I got the original coils are back in. I didn't modify ride height at all. I could have cut a half a coil or a coil out of it to really drop the nose, but he likes his stance where it's at, and he does drive this car quite a bit, so we don't want to make it too low where it's undrivable. Although if I had one of these, I would definitely drop it in the front and the rear probably an inch, and I think that would be reasonably solid. So let me get these adjustments made in the back. I've already got my passenger's rear pretty close. When I tighten my bolt down, that's going to pinch inward, so I'm going to leave that one there. I'm going to move a thin shim to the outboard to push my arm in, and as I recall, I need to come in with it. It looks like I've got, what did I take out of there? Took this out of the outboard, and I need to switch it with one twice that thick. There might be one in there. That's a big guy. So, let's see if I have shims handy for this. Alright, so I shuffled my shims around. I added a shim over here in a spot. I moved these guys around. Moved those guys around. And this is where I'm at currently. They actually want more toe than that. I'd like to see it stay about here, but I have to tighten the bolts down and see where it ends up. So we'll do that right now. The bolts for these are kind of a pain. They've got a bolt up in there. You can see it there. And it goes across. And you have to get it in the wheel well. I use a little stubby wrench to get it. So I'm going to tighten him down, and then you put a cotter key in it, and it makes sure it doesn't come loose. There's also supposed to be a cotter key that goes from here through here, just in case that bolt comes loose, the pivot bolt comes loose. Then the shims are trapped in place with the hole. It just keeps you from losing the shims. Alright. It's looking pretty good. The back side actually is about as close as you can get it, to be honest, and that is tightened down in the back. So with that, I'm going to move to the front, and I put some base settings on the passenger side while I had the control arm off. I'm going to try and match that up to this side, because the trick is to get your driver's side close while you have the AC compressor off while you're doing the control arm, and then you make the driver's side match, because then you're not slinging shims underneath the AC compressor, because that's a real bear. Most of these didn't have AC. This one does. I don't think it's operable. It's not connected, but it looks cool under there. The evening sun is brutal on us in here through these lights. But let's get the hood popped and move on to the front, which looks like, honestly, not horrible. We're going to mostly be adding camber, touch of caster. We'll square up our toe, recomp. Alright, getting closer. Alright, well, it's time to recompensate. I've got this at a baseline with my initial compensation, and because the toe is so far out, the compensation doesn't always read well, so I always recomp and start over. Hopefully my back end wasn't out too far, and it'll be close, or at least close enough. Those back ends on these are kind of a bear to do. They're definitely time consuming, and they're not fun. They're not easy adjustments to do. I mean, they are, but they're time consuming. So I'm going to recomp this, basically roll it back, roll it forwards, re-sweep caster, verify what my numbers are, and I should be pretty close. Hopefully it'll just be a toe adjustment. I do want to remind you guys, we are a full service repair facility here in Plain City, Ohio, just outside of Columbus on the northwest side. We work on a lot of different stuff, a lot more than just custom alignments and chassis work. I mean, we are working on Paul's XR7 Cougar, and that one's, I'm going to be working on that one hopefully next week. But this guy's in here, work van. We do a lot of work vans. This one's in here for no heat, needs a thermostat. This big hoss here, Dirty Max with an Allison. That's a nice truck right there. If you can find one of those out there in the wild that's not rusted out, buy it, because those are great trucks. That one's in for some brakes and suspension work and whatnot. So, but that's just like regular boring stuff. Everybody does that, right? I don't know. Anyway, let me get this thing recomped, because I have a race car coming tomorrow. I think it's a S10 pickup truck. Not sure what all we'll get into with that, but we'll probably video it and put it up for you guys so you can see what we run into with that one. Big thanks to all the guys that bring us their cars from all over the place. You guys really, it means a lot to us that you guys bring your cars from such distances and let me do what I do, work my magic for you. It is nice to hear back from everybody that comes, because more often than not, it's well, I took my car back and ran a personal best. Like, yes, that's what we want to hear. Let me get this thing wrapped up, because I want to go home. I do like that car in white. I must admit, it looks good. Good steering feel. Feels even side to side, so that's a plus. Not horrible. Looks like I need a little more caster on this side. Alright, so I need to raise my caster a little here, so I'm going to add a shim to the back position and take away the same shim in the front position, which should only change my caster without changing my camber. In the back I need to remove my toe shim, which is the one up forward. I'll show you that. I adjusted my rear camber a touch to bring it up. My toe there is good, so we're going to make that adjustment to our toe adjustment back here. And the toe adjustments, this little guy right here, you got this nut inside the, that might be too much light. You got that little nut there, and it usually has a cotter key in it just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And then there's the hole for the other cotter key that holds the shims in. You can see I've got my shims in here again. So I'm going to take this thin shim out of this side, put it on that side, and then lock it down, and hopefully that'll be where we're at. If it's too far that way, I'll probably err on the way of keeping it too far towed in because road drag, and I don't know. We'll figure that out when we get there. I think that's going to do it. Yep, my hole's lined up. Or tight. That is the worst adjustment on this car, is that guy right there. I'm here to tell you. But when you get it right, it's very satisfying because you end up with almost perfect on your backside. So let's make a little more caster up front, and we should be able to send this one down the road. It's going to drive really nice. So I decided to err in the side of caution, and basically I've added a shim on the rear position and I left the front position alone, which will increase my caster. It shouldn't increase my camber much, but we'll see what it does. It might only just move it 1/10 in the camber. I need to resweep caster to verify what my caster numbers are, because whenever you move a caster adjustment, you have to resweep the caster to verify. It's just something I've always had to do with every machine I've ever worked on. You always have to verify your caster sweeps. So it did move it in 1/10, but it actually, both sides changed. So I'll take that because I want negative camber on this car. I actually want more than that, but we're setting this up initially just the way we're doing it, and we'll see how the customer likes it. And if he wants more negative camber, I'll put it in there, but for just street driving, it's not really necessary to be super aggressive on negative camber. But compared to the like 8 positive, like almost a full degree positive, this is going to be so much better. So my caster went up 2/10, almost 3. My cameras are dead even at -1, -0.1, -0.1. I'm going to throw probably the same shim in again in the back, and we'll see if our caster comes even and our camber stays within 1/10. I think it'll be close, but we'll do that real quick, just to see if we can make it that much better. Alright, let's do our caster sweep one more time. Honestly, that's a winner. We're within 1/10 on camber. We're within 1/10 on caster. I'll take just a touch of toe out of it. I think we got a good baseline to begin with. This thing's going to drive, ride, and handle very, very well. So we're -0.8, -0.9. Towed in just a touch. I'll back this one down to match that one, lock those down within a tenth, within a tenth. I'll take it. It's going to be great. And now I get to go for a test drive after I strip this thing down. That's the best part of my day. Well, we're going to head off on this because it's evening. I'm going to test drive this one in the morning, but I am going to strip this down, lock everything down. I already did my upper control arm bolts and my lower control arm bolts, the pinch bolts and the bushings. I did those with the weight of the car sitting on it. The upper control arm on the Corvette is a bear to do those upper control arm bolts. This is an old distributor wrench that I found that I could get in there, and it took me, you know, an eighth of a turn at a time, but I got both of the upper arm bolts tightened down. The ones on the bottom were super simple. But those are the little things that you do when you're trying to do it right, and it takes a lot of extra time to do it that way, but the end result's worth it. So thanks for watching. Click like, subscribe, leave us a comment below. What do you think of these early 70s Stingrays? I really like them. I think they're going to be going up in value. I really do. I think people are starting to see the potential in them with all the stuff that we can do to them now, and with the aftermarket support, or even the just putting the adjustable upper arms on it is a huge benefit, especially for negative cambers. So, anyway, you guys have a great day. We'll see you soon.